Hello and welcome to Deliberately Creative. I'm Stephanie from Deliberately Creative, and I'd like to welcome you to episode number 9 of Doodle Gems. This time we're going to do a fun doodle that is like a string of beads. So we'll have places for several different gems. There'll be one main gem and then just a few little ones scattered along the way with some doodles in between. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope you stick around to do the project. All right. Oh, I had to show this. My new business card. Let's see if you can see that there. Look at that. I've got a business card. Actually, I don't really have a business doing this yet, but I have my card to pass out when I'm at VidCon this year. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. So I've got my cards. I've got a t-shirt that has this design. Whoops, let's go this way. This design on it right here. It's going to be kind of fun. I think I want to do it in this portrait type orientation. There it is, portrait orientation. And first, I like to just draw a squiggly line, and you can barely see it. That's because I'm going to do this in pencil first, but, you know, and then I drop a couple stones on here. And you notice I do messy circles. Sorry, I'm looking over to the side here because I have a monitor that is showing me what my main camera, my hand camera, is doing. So I've got this circle here, I've got one up there and one there. All right, I think I'm going to probably throw some little square beads, a couple square beads in there. But if you notice, that would have had a hole going sideways. And you sort of need to keep in mind what direction the hole would be running through your bead. So if my string that is carrying this bead is going here and here, that's where my hole is. So that means that my bead itself needs to be going sort of parallel to it. The sides of this bead need to be parallel to the string. And now this is just a rough outline. This is not exactly how this bead is going to have its corners and things like that. These are placeholders. And I think I'm going to throw just some tiny little beads in between some of these bigger beads. And maybe we'll go ahead and do a triangle bead. Now my line is sort of bent, which means that really my line has to be straightened out where the string is going, because the inside of a bead doesn't bend with the string. The string bends to the shape of the bead. So if I have a channel going through my bead here, the string has very limited space that it can go. And I'm just going to do that, and then maybe one bead here, and two little beads here, a small one, maybe not all of these circle beads are going to be stone, some will be decorative. There we go, and one more right here, and then have the string coming out. So we've got the string coming out here. We'll just swirly curl that and swirly curl that, just because. And this would be like a little crimp bead or something. And this would be a little crimp bead. So if I'm thinking about it right now, the circle for this bead, where the string is coming through, is right here. So I do need to sort of tighten up my circle just a little bit. This one is actually going pretty straight. If you see, that's where the hole would be going through this bead. And then this one, I want to sort of tighten up my circle The hole for this bead is here. They try to make the holes in the beads be fairly close to perfect center. They don't have to be absolutely perfectly perfect. Perfectly perfect? That's not really a word, or really even a term. But remember, these are doodles and they don't have to be so perfect that you could actually really find them. This is fantasy. You can make them as loose or as tight as you want them to be. And now I'm going to go ahead and grab my Pigma Micron. Let's see. There you go. All right. And I'm going to just start outlining my doodle. I'll put the string in later. That way, if I need to adjust the string, I can. Let's get this back on screen for you. So first, I'm just going to get some of these main shapes in. I like to knock the corners off of my squares because in real life, square beads tend to have their corners knocked off a little bit. My circles are not perfect. They don't have to be. Knocking the corners off of my triangle also. And if you notice, my circles are not perfect. They don't have to be. These are handmade beads. I think I want to throw another little one there and make this circle move over a bit, and then put another little one there. I have fun doing these, and I also have fun changing them up from what I designed to begin with. I didn't want as big a bead in between, but I want a bigger bead here. And then I'll do a smaller bead and a tiny bead. And I think I'll just stay with that one. And I'll stay with this one. And now I'll go ahead and put in a squiggle. And from here, I'll put in a squiggle. All right, so I have my basic, sorry, I keep sliding over to the side here. I have my basic outlines down. I'm going to go ahead and erase the pencil lines now because they're just going to confuse me. And I'm just using a white vinyl eraser. It does tend to make a few crumbs. That's okay. It doesn't, if the pen is dry, it doesn't smear the pen. If your pen is wet, it will smear. So be careful. Make sure that you let it dry. Nice thing about the Pigma Microns is that they dry really fast, so you don't have to worry about that so much. Now, I think I am going to put some squiggles in on this bead. This one's just going to be a decorative bead. It's not going to be a stone. Maybe a line on either side. I am going to color it. It might get colored silver. It might get colored, oh, I don't know. It might get color to color. Be a fancy bead. But I think I like having that kind of band going around it. All right. And, let's see. Ooh, I know. Yep, you see me looking over to the side every once in a while. I have my sample. That I've got some designs drawn on. Just to give me a little hint of some things that I might want to do. I went out a little bit here. No big deal. That's going to get covered in when I do my shading. So I like that. And maybe I'll move this over, see? So it's not quite as obvious that I'm looking to the side. All right, so looking here, I want to do, this one's going to be my main stone. These two, possibly, I think actually they're just going to become decorative. They're not going to be the main stone. I want to keep that very focused on that center stone. So this little one, getting some lines like that. This one, nope, this one. I think I want to make this one of those little balloon type of looking ones where the lines just sort of go around. It gives it a little bit of shape. These are doodles, remember, they don't have to be perfect. You can look at these as, if you want to end up with something perfect, you can look at these as your practice, your design samples to get your ideas flowing. And let's see. Well, I like that. I like how that turned out. And that's just going to be a little colored bead. Some of these are just going to be little colored beads, little glass beads, or silver beads. Go ahead and thicken up this string a bit. Maybe adjust the curve. I think this one is going to end up getting a real fancy bezel on it. And I like doing some of these doodles that sort of follow a shape. Oops, sorry, slipped under that piece of paper. Sort of follow the shape, give you some ideas. They don't have to be perfect. They really don't even have to be symmetrical. This is your doodle. This is your world. Now I'm just going to throw an outline on these. Now when you're doing your doodles, you do not have to move as quickly as I'm doing. I'm going pretty fast because I don't want you to have to sit here for an hour watching me doodle when you might want to get to the stone first. I don't know. And you could do that. You could draw your stones first and then go in and doodle around your stones. I know for some that makes it a little bit less, I don't know, not threatening, but less nerve-wracking. If you do your doodle first and then you do your stones, sometimes you're a little bit nervous that you're going to mess up. There's no messing up. Don't worry about that. Really, there's no messing up. There's opportunities to make something different. That's all it is. But sometimes drawing your stone in, coloring it in the way you want it, then throwing a pencil line and doing your doodle around it lightly in pencil first to lay it out is a little more comfortable. That being said, I'm kind of throwing caution to the wind here and doing my doodle first, and then I'll do the stone. And this is just fun, easygoing stuff. You don't have to know any names of the doodles. I don't. I have books that can tell me names. Many of these are designs that I have done for years and years, and I've never put a name to them. Now people are putting names to a lot of these designs that I've done, other people have done, designs that have been used in history, in historical buildings. No one can copyright how I'm doing my design. I'm doing my design, but nothing is new. Nothing is new under the sun. And just because I'm doing a design the way I'm doing it, you can do the same. You could end up with the exact same picture, drawing it a different way. Putting your doodles in different ways. So that's where I am. I do like Zentangle. I like that the people who originated it have found a way to market and make it accessible, make doodling accessible to others who may not have ever found it. But they were not the first people to use doodling for meditation. They're just the ones that were able to market it. And I think that is awesome. I think that they deserve a lot of praise for getting it out there. All right, so that's the doodle on that one. And this is going to be the main stone right here. I'm pretty tickled. I'm kind of excited with how this turned into a butterfly. Flying off of a flower, maybe. I'm not sure. All right, so this design here, the triangle, I think that it's actually going to end up being a translucent stone, or maybe even transparent. So what I want to do is put it in a bezel, which is basically just putting a double line around it. So you've got your stone, you've got your outline, you've got a line going on the outside of that. And I think that one is actually just set the way it's going to be. I want to do, I'm sorry, I keep bouncing around, and that's part of this, is you can bounce around on your doodles. You don't have to do it in a line. I think this one's going to end up with sort of a flower doodle on it. There we go. And I'm just going to do a double line. There it is. Little lines inside of those little petals. All right, and oh, this one more big one here, I think is going to have some type of a pattern in it. Maybe I'll just do a fun sort of checkerboard effect. I added another little circle there and another little circle at the top and the bottom. That just makes it look like the string could have been going through it. And I may even widen that out just a smidge. There we go. All right, and now to do the checkerboard, I'm going to run a line, a curving line around the middle. And then I'm just going to follow that curve, and I'm going to make these smaller and smaller as I go. There. And there. So, maybe I'll make this a little bit fatter on this side too. And the nice thing about it, I just made it one line wider, so it's easy to just join these lines into it. And if you notice, I did not make this totally symmetrical. I really am just doing sort of a checkerboard. I think I do want to have a highlight on here. And a highlight here. I don't know if you can see those pencil lines very much. You'll notice it more when I am coloring it in with the black, because I'm going to leave those areas that are inside white. And when I color over it with a colored pencil, it will lighten up the dark lines, because the dark lines would still be there. They just wouldn't be as bright and prominent. All right, so now I am going to, let's see, that was black, white, black, white, black, skip, and that's white. This one's going to be black, that's white. This one is going to be black just on the edge, because my highlight is starting to run through that area. This one is going to be black, and I'm just going to cut through and leave that corner that I had in my highlight. And then this one is just going to get colored in black. This is totally black. This one's totally white. This one is partly black. That one's totally white. And this one has just a smidge of white left in it. And I will be doing some other color on this when I do the coloring. And I am not too worried about going, perfect lines. Don't need perfect lines. Not perfect in any way. I have fun. I enjoy my time doing this, but I am not worried about perfection. Not worried. Because it's not worth worrying over. And again, now I'm looking at this going, okay, so that highlight was coming across this way. Like that. And it's kind of curved to follow. You'll really see it once it is finished. That's white. Black, that's black. This one is a black one, that's a white one. Here we go. Finishing that bit right there. And just going every other block. This is one of the simplest types of patterns. It has been around for a bazillion years. I think that a checkerboard is probably one of those patterns that has been just sort of ingrained in us. We look for contrasts. Probably why the first type of game boards were checkerboard, alternating square colors, light and dark. All right, so that's just a quick doodle. Let's see, one more here. I think this one is going to have a double band and then just straight lines. And then it's going to have some little lines at the top and bottom of it, like that. Sweet little doodles, easy going, no big deals. I'm just going to throw a little bit of a double line on that one. And let's see. I think this one is just going to have some stripes. There we go. Oh, double up this line. I am doing Nephrite Jade. Nephrite Jade. It's really a pretty stone. All right, so If you are coming in from the beginning of the video because you just wanted to learn how to do the stone, welcome. We are doing Nephrite Jade. Nephrite Jade is a beautiful, mostly opaque, semi-translucent type of jade. It comes in mostly colors of cream, yellowy cream to a deep green. Your darkest, deepest greens are the most expensive ones that you can find, but the prettier ones, I think, have variations of color, from a light color of soft pale green with a yellowish tone to it, to the deepest, darkest bluey green. So you end up with a lot of variation in these stones. I am going to give myself some landlines to look for, and I am not going to use a pen or a pencil for that. I want to use a colored pencil. Okay, so here we are. We have our colored pencils for the Nephrite Jade. What we've got, we have cream, which is PC 914. It's sort of a yellowy white. Let's see, where am I going to throw my pencils when I'm done showing them to you? We have Gingerroot, which is another creamy color, but it's more brown. It's more brown. It's going to work in the shading inside the cream areas, and it will work with the greens, I'm pretty certain. I have some Yellow Ochre, and that's PC 942, Yellow Ochre. And not a lot of this. It's a little bit more brownie toned, but I wanted a hint of the orangey tone in the very, very background. Sort of an undercolor that won't really show. Then we have True Green, PC 910. Dark Green, PC 908. Apple Green, and that's PC 912. And Grass Green, and that is PC 909. Then for my last two colors that will get used a little bit, but not a whole lot, little touches of it here and there. Aquamarine 905, PC 905. And Indigo Blue, PC 901. You know I like to use this for my shading. All right, so here we go. Oops, sorry about that noise. That was awfully loud. Oh yes, I'm also going to be using my favorite Uniball Signo pen. My Signo Uniball White for bright highlights. The Prismacolor PC 938. I didn't do a number on the card for it because a white swatch on white card, you wouldn't see it. I could have written the words down. I didn't. Sorry about that. So here we go. Here we go. Nephrite Jade. This is a very popular type of stone in New Zealand. I didn't know that actually until I was doing some research, and it showed. I'm going to sharpen up my pencil just a little bit. My cream. Start laying some of my light patches in. Start laying some of those light patches in. This is going to be sort of in a swoop around. Anyway, so the Nephrite Jade is called Greenstone in New Zealand, and it's highly prized. Some of the deepest, darkest colors that are carved into most intricate shapes are they're considered treasures for the Maori, the native population in New Zealand, and they have made such an art form of the carving of this particular stone. They will give beautiful pieces of it to dignitaries or to guests, to friends. It has a bit of a spiritual meaning for them. I do not claim to know any of this information firsthand, except for having gone to New Zealand and seen people carving it, carving the nephrite jade. They call it greenstone. I'm just laying a very light layer of this cream. And I may not even use that goldenrod because this cream actually has enough of this yellowy tone to it. Just a very light layer. All right. Then I think what I'm going to do is, because this is an undertone in this particular stone that I'm looking at. Now, if you want to see the stone that I'm doing this from, it's on my Pinterest. I have a Pinterest page board that is rocks, stones, and gems. And I've pinned a really pretty piece of nephrite jade that is shaped like a giant oval. Has a little black string coming out of it. So if you want to go and look at that, I can't put it up on here. I don't own the image. So that is just the way that goes. And now, very lightly, very, very lightly, I'm going to throw in just some patches of this sort of bluey color, which is the aquamarine. I love this color. And you'll see there's like little scratches in this paper. I don't know where that came from, but that's okay. I will work with it as texture in my stone. Remember, these are doodles. These are doodles. They're not, don't worry so much about these. Don't get yourself worked up. Now I'm picking up the true green and I'm going to start laying in some of this brighter green. And I'm going to be overlapping the aquamarine, knocking that aquamarine into the background. Just knocking it into the background. And I'm going right over my cream also, because this stone really is green. It doesn't really have that cream showing, but it has light patches of pale green. And I wanted to be able to get this in and have almost a glow in the background. Almost a glow, but not a bright yellow, because it doesn't have a bright yellow in this stone. And I'm just working my way around. I'm sort of leaving this lighter patch here in the middle. I'm giving it just a tiny brush of this color. And just working it around. This is layers, remember. I always work in layers with these. None of the layers are perfect, but when they all blend together, they give you such a pretty stone. I might hit a little bit darker down in around where that bezel goes, where the little frame is for this. And now I am going to lay in some of my dark green. And the reason for putting some of those dark greens in now is that these are streaks and lines going through. They are not, it's not the way this is actually, well, it's colored. I guess it's colored this way, but it has the color in it. But the base color of the stone is not this dark green. It is actually more the pale green that is the base, the color that holds it all together. Put a few of these little freckles of green in here. They're not going to stay so perfectly, dashed lines. I'm not Not going to leave them as totally dashed lines. They're going to work their way in to the background some. So that's one line patch going through here. I think I'm going to make that patch a little bit bigger. I am working really with blunt pencils for this. It's not imperative to use your sharpest. I actually like how it blends a little bit better when it's a bit more blunt and just sort of goes on smoother. You could do this with any colored pencils. You are not limited to just Prismacolors. Please, any pencil you have that will lay color down, that has a color that you like. I have seen some pictures of jades, mostly the jadeite type jade, but some jades that actually have colors you would never expect. I did not know that jadeite comes in purple and red and bright yellow and orange. Right now this is looking kind of like a green moon. But I'm just working my layers of color in. Now, show you here. There is, again, that slight line of not putting the color all the way to the edge. Not the darkest color all the way to the edge, because there's a little light, a little reflection. It's just something that I naturally do, I guess, because I noticed that that's happened a few times when I've been working on these. I'm just lightly blushing this color in. I'm not being too particular. I am not worried about replicating this exact stone exactly, because I'm doing a circle and the stone I'm doing it from is an oval and the colors are going through it in different ways, and that makes it more special, I think. I'm going to pick up the grass green just to sort of go over that dark green a little bit, blending it out, giving it a little more depth, a little more dimension. Coloring right over that cream still. And I'll probably take the cream and go back in again. I'm still leaving the center sort of light, just because this is a very round stone. I don't want to have to put a bright highlight right in the center of my stone, but I do want some lightness there. So use the paper to your advantage. If you're using a white paper, you've got that light glow underneath. I'm really enjoying how this aquamarine is just floating into the background, but you can still see it. You can still notice that it's there ever so slightly. Ever so slightly, you can see hints of it. It's not prominent. It is just helping to give those background layers something of interest. So there's other places that you can find nephrite jade besides New Zealand. They do have it in China, China being the place where jadeite comes from. They have it in Wyoming and Alaska also, nephrite jade. And you can find it pretty much in any state in the West. I know that we have something out here in Washington that people call Northwest jade. And I'm not sure if it's really jade or not, but it looks very similar to this. I'm going to go ahead and grab my cream again. Lighten this up just a little bit. Blend those colors together just a little bit. Giving sort of that waxy tone to it. Nephrite is actually a pretty hard stone. It's fairly durable. People have been wearing it for jewelry. They make it into other types of decorative items. They'll carve it. Okay, so there's that. That's looking pretty. I think I want to throw a little bit of this indigo just in some touches. Just sort of smudging it in. And then giving it a few little freckles. Giving it a few freckles here and there with this indigo blue. I'm going to be going back in with my dark green again, sort of in those areas. But I wanted to give it a little bit more texture, a little more texture. Maybe run a little bit of this blue into the area there where I had that darkest green and sort of bring it around a little bit. And bringing some up into that cream area even. Jade is a stone that is made up of a lot of different minerals, and I did not do as deep of research as I may have done on some of my other stones. I saw it, I wanted to do it, and so I just jumped in and started doing it. There we go. That is looking very pretty. I think maybe take that dark green again, and I want to get a little bit of that down in here near that blue. Sort of work that blue in a little bit. I don't want it to be as prominent. I want it still to be green and not show up as blue. And by layering over the top of it, it makes it have that blue cast without being a blue line. That is making me very happy. So let's move this up here closer to you. All right, so there you go. Here, I'll show you this way too. Look at that. There we go. That is looking really pretty. Okay, so I'm actually pretty darn happy with how that's turning out. I am going to just lay a little bit of this dark in a couple more spots, just to deepen the tone a little bit. Sorry, I keep going off the frame here. There we are. There we go. So that makes a really pretty stone that didn't require a lot of hard work. I'm going to just take this white in and sort of, I'm not really putting in highlights with this, but I'm just lightening up some of these colors just in a couple patches, because this stone had some variety and variation to it. It wasn't just a solid green. Those solid green ones are beautiful and very expensive. But this one I think is really pretty. And it's not so expensive. So it would be one that if you were as a tourist over in New Zealand, you would be able to pick something like this up. I'm going to get my pen started over here on another piece of paper. All right, and let's see. I think, we're going to have a little bit of a highlight here. And if I don't like the way the highlight turns out, I can go ahead and just let it dry, scrape it off. Nice thing about being on top of colored pencil, this particular pen is not permanent. It is not permanent. There we go. No, I'm not liking that. And see how easy that is to just scrape it off. And scrape it off. It dries really fast. I just didn't like the way that was looking. It looked kind of globby. Not really into the globby look. So give it a longer line like that, with maybe a little echo line here, and a dot and a dot. I like that better. So let's see. What do you think? How do you think? Looking okay? Enjoying it. All right. So that is the main stone that we were doing in this one. I am going to go ahead and do some speed video, I think, to get some of these other ones colored in. You've seen the doodle, you've seen the main stone. Now we're going to just do some real speed video to get the rest of these colored in. And thank you. I will see you at the end. This has turned into a very long video, and I apologize. Remember, you always have the ability to fast forward. You will not hurt my feelings. I'd really like it if you would click like and subscribe if you did like the video, and if you'd like to find out when I have more videos go up. If you have some ideas of things that you would like me to try, I have a list that I've got running now of things that people have asked me to do. I had a friend ask if I would do jade, and I said sure. So here's the jade. And thank you. Well, I'm just going to, okay, fine. I'm going to finish just laying just a little bit of color in on these petals around the jade. And if I were thinking right, I wouldn't have used the green, but that's okay. It makes it look almost like these are little jade petals that have been added to this. That makes it pretty. That makes it nice. And, you know, happy accidents, opportunities, happy opportunities for something new and different. Unexpected. I like the unexpected. There we go. All right, so remember, go out and do something creative. Take care. Here we go. You want to see it up close? There you are. There we go. Take care, guys. Bye. Fit that one there. Ha-ha, I made it all the way around. Okay. Now what I want to do is I am just going to start here at the center, and I am going to make just a little scallop outline, bump over the top of each swirl. That's why I said it really didn't matter if they touched completely or not.